In this video, I'm going to share what I carry around with me in my guitar playing toolkit. All of the little trinkets that go along with my guitar when I leave to go play a gig, go and jam with some friends, or when I'm at home, and the main items that I need access to at all times when I'm playing guitar. Thank you for watching. My name is Chris. Welcome to Baroque Gains. This is the guitar first. It's a very old guitar. This is my Spanish guitar. And obviously without a guitar, you can't have a guitar toolkit. So the first thing in my toolkit is a tuner. This is a tuner by Peterson, and I want to say I'm not sponsored or affiliated with any companies I'm going to mention here, but I might put affiliate links down below. So in case you guys want to pick them up or check out what these things are, do some research. This is a Strobo Clip HD headstock tuner from Peterson. This is my favorite headstock tuner I've ever owned because it allows very precise tuning to any pitch you want. So for example, normal tuners are set to A440. You might be able to go up a few cents like A445 or A435, but this one goes as high and as low as you want it. And you can go actually in between pitches as well. You can create your own fine-tuned tunings on their software and then import them into your tuner. And they even have historical tuning systems that you can put in here pretty much just with the click of a button. So I would say it's a great tuner. Definitely check it out. I would say the second most important things are going to be the pick. First of all, sometimes I play with this Dunlop medium thumb pick, left-handed, and I've been using these for like 10 years or more, and I've been using it a lot less lately because I've been working on certain classical guitar arrangements that don't require this. This changes the sound of your thumb, makes it more attack, it gives it more bite. If the music you're playing doesn't need that, then you don't need the thumb pick. But whenever you're playing sort of that American fingerstyle guitar, that Chet Atkins, Merle Travis stuff where the bass is going boom, chick, and you're palm muting the bass, the thumb pick is a good tool for that. In fact, that's the way you get that sound. The next thing in my toolkit is going to be a capo. If you're playing classical guitar, just know that the neck of your guitar is flat. A lot of people make the mistake of using a regular acoustic guitar capo on a classical guitar neck. Nope. Actually, this is my favorite type of design of capo. Number one, because it's flat, so it matches the radius of the classical guitar neck. And two, because it's a clamp on, so you can take it on and off the neck easily at any time. And you can put it right on the nut if you're not using it. Like, that's basically the Tommy Emmanuel approach. I used to listen to a lot of Tommy Emmanuel, and he has some arrangements where he puts the capo on and off the guitar in the middle of a song. So he'll have it up here maybe, and then he'll be just jamming along, and then all of a sudden he'll do a key change, and he'll come and do that. There's even another arrangement I play where if you watch the guy play it, he keeps the capo up here, which is also reasonable. And then once he's at the point where the key change, he'll just come over here and slide it on and do a key change. And then you can, take it right off as well. I love a capo because it allows you to just pitch shift your guitar on the fly. The problem with the capo is when it comes to sight reading or reading music notation. You just have to somehow forget about what fret you're on the guitar and just, I don't know, it just makes reading music a lot more difficult when you're using a capo. So that's the main downside of it. Although I love capos, this is the best capo I've ever used. It's by D'Addario. I'll put a link to it down below. Probably this should have been one of the first items, but this is a metronome. This is one of the most important practice tools that should be in every musician's toolkit. This is just a simple metronome that I've had for a very long time. I don't quite like this one actually. I want a better one. But this one I have to turn it on. Then if I press the middle button, I get 4 beats per measure. You see where it accents 1, 2, 3, 4. But I don't always want it to do that, so I have to press the beat button like 7, 8 times and then get it to be beat 0. And now it doesn't accent every 4 beats. Although if you want it to accent, that's pretty cool that you can do that. And you can also change the rhythm. A metronome is definitely a #1 tool in everybody's toolkit, not just guitarists. The next thing that is specific to guitarists is going to be something you use to file your nails if you play with nails and to, keep your nails healthy. So on your fretboard hand, your nails need to be very short so that they don't touch the fretboard. And on your picking hand, the nails need to be shaped, and in my opinion, they also need to be sanded down to give you a more desirable sound. So if the nails are too long, I'll go ahead and file them straight with a nail filer, and I'll just do a little bit at a time because this filer can shave off a lot of the nail at once. Well, most filers, if you're very aggressive with it, it can take off a lot of the nail. So you have to be very careful with how much nail you take off. You do a bit at a time, and then you can get yourself some 600 grit sandpaper or 400, whatever works for you. This costs nothing, costs $1 at the store, and you just make the nail nice and smooth around the sides especially. And then when you strike the string, it's very rare that you strike it with the center of the nail. So a lot of times players strike it with the corner or the rounded edge of the nail. So the string is hitting the nail at an angle, not necessarily always perpendicularly. You need to just do trial and error. So I'll sand the thumbnail, make it nice and smooth. And you'll feel when your nail is smooth. You just sand it a bit and you'll feel it if it's rough or if it's smooth. And I'll always do this, especially when getting out of the shower, because when you get out of the shower, your hands are wet and damp and you need to dry them. So give it a bit of a file, dry the hands, or do whatever you have to do to get your hands dry. Play a bit of guitar and then you should be ready to play after that. The next tool that I think is interesting is this one. I use this when I'm practicing different flamenco techniques or tremolos. Although lately I haven't been using it because my neighbors seem to not care. But if I was ever in a place where I needed to reduce the sound of my guitar and I was practicing loud rest stroke technique or tremolo, I would put this thing underneath my strings. This is called a tremolo mute. And now when I play, it mutes the string from vibrating, so it essentially makes it quieter. So I could use this when practicing tremolo. Or the flamenco tremolo, which would be thumb, index, ring, middle, index. There's many things you can practice, but you would use this to improve the precision of your tremolo techniques. Anytime you're doing a pattern of, you know, thumb, index, middle, ring, cross string trill patterns, for example, which would be one of them is ring, index, middle. The other one that David Russell recommends is index, ring, middle. So that one's interesting too. And then you can even do ring, middle, index. So yeah, the tremolo mute is definitely an interesting tool. This thing costs nothing. I think it's like $5-6 if you get it on Strings by Mail or directly from the guy. The next two things that I think are useful that every guitarist needs is number one, a string winder for when you're changing your strings. This is a simple Jim Dunlop. I've had this for ages. And then maybe just a good set of pliers to just cut off any excess string that you might need. For example, cut it off from there so that it doesn't rub against the body and vibrate. That's one thing. And then you can also cut them at the headstock. Although I don't cut them very much at the headstock on my classical guitars because I typically put my string on my guitar where I try to get as much of the string on the winding post. So there's only very little string left here, but there will be some cases where I might cut off just a small bit of it if it's getting in my way. So a good set of pliers always helps. When you're playing music and practicing music, you need something to put your musical arrangements on. In this case, I use a simple iPad, and I keep this iPad disconnected from the internet as much as possible. I keep it on airplane mode, and all I do is I upload PDFs using VLC to this. So what I'll do is I'll have my arrangements here when I'm practicing. That's an arrangement by David Russell that I've been working on. When I'm practicing, I'll use the annotation tool on the iPad reader, and I'll just make quick drawings of if I need to change a fingering or something. Eventually I'll get to my laptop and I'll make edits to the arrangement, fixing whatever fingerings I need to do. And then I'll re-upload the arrangement back to the iPad, the latest version, and then I'll practice using that. I prefer the iPad just because it's easy to keep everything organized in folders and all that. When I'm practicing, I use this stand here that puts the iPad on there. You probably can't see it, but it's there. I'll use that stand to mount the iPad in a way where I can easily maneuver it, whether I'm sitting down, standing up, practicing and all that. Something you guys might notice is that I do play with a strap. I play with a strap because I stand up playing a lot, and I just find it creates a little bit more dynamics with your audience when you're standing up instead of always sitting down. Also, there's another reason why I play with a strap. It's so to free up my legs so I can play a little bit of a bass line with my feet. And that's pretty much all I have in my toolkit for the moment, and I think it's going to stay that way. Thank you for watching. If you want to see other videos like this, click this playlist right over here, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.